Thursday evening. Hope that you had a wonderful day. Come on in to Let's Talk Moms holiday conversations, where we are having a series of conversations for the single and the co-parenting moms to kind of get ourselves some chit chat. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Come on in. Come on in. Thank you for joining us. Let me see. I think we have a guest. Our guest has come in. I think, Christina, you're going to have to invite yourself because it's not letting me invite you. You may have to go out and then come back in. Listen, sometimes Instagram gives us a problem. And tonight it looks like it might just be a problem. My mommy just came on, you guys. Hey, mommy. Listen, I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. Hope that you had a amazing week. I hope you had, hey, Christina.
I made it.
You made it. Hope you had a really great Thanksgiving. And listen, we are here to chat and have some really great conversation. This is part 2 with Miss Christina. I'm excited about this conversation tonight. We'll talk a little bit about what we're talking about, but hope you come back next week. We'll be talking a lot about a lot of great things. Next week, we have Lakeisha Harris. We're going to be talking about dating and mating, if that's what you choose to do. And on the 16th, we're going to have Malia Black. She's going to be talking to us about developing our intuition. What does intuition mean? And how do you develop it? How do you get more comfortable being listening to your intuition? And on the 23rd, we're going to have Alicia Jackson. She's going to be talking to us about being a generational curse breaker. That's going to be an amazing conversation. And then on the 30th, because if you're anything like any of my friends or even like me, we are trying to lose the weight and keep it off for good. So we have one of my favorite people, Wiltrina Jackson from I Used to Be You Fitness, coming to talk to us about how do we lose this weight and how do we keep it off for good? How do we ditch that yo-yo dieting? If you did not know, we have a whole fitness division here at Legacy Empowerment Services. So that is going to be a great conversation. But tonight we have Miss Christina Rizzo. And I'm excited. This is part 2. She joined us, I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was right before Thanksgiving, wasn't it?
Right before Thanksgiving, and we were talking about, what were we talking about that week? I can't remember.
Thriving over the holidays as a single.
Thriving. And tonight, this is kind of part 2, and we're going to talk about getting unstuck. And so, as tradition dictates, we're going to be drinking on something tonight. I'm just drinking some Gatorade. Listen, I just came back from practice with my son. Christina, what you got in that glass?
Some red wine. I've had quite a day. So I feel like moms will be able to relate. So full share disclosure, my stomach has been like awful today. So like I have felt crappy all day for whatever reason. I don't know why. Then I got a headache. Then my son has a project due tomorrow in which he has to do a presentation, which he doesn't like to talk in front of people. Not many of us do. So all evening I've been dealing with that as well, which was the pep talking, the coercing, all the things, right? The lecturing, like every angle I could come at, like, what if I just don't do this? I'm like, you have no option, you know?
You have no option, son. Let's get to cracking.
There are things that we don't want to do. We have to do them anyway. This is a life skill you're learning, you know?
Absolutely. He's like, whatever, mom, right?
Exactly. So it's been a day, but he just finished the project and life is good. So, but full good share job. Because I know that, you know, you look at other single moms or other moms and you think, well, how do they handle it all? Like, how do they look like they're doing so well? But like, we're all struggling in our own little ways. Like some days are great, some days are rough, and we're all just doing the best that we can. So
listen, I think I say that every single day, that we are all, like all of us are literally just doing the best that we can. And we're trying to figure all this out, right? So that is a great reminder. That helped me too, because I told y'all before I came, y'all just see us go live. Y'all don't see what happens like before this.
Exactly.
Like me like driving like a mad woman trying to get here on time from basketball practice. Like we don't, like no one shows that part, the hectic part, right?
Right.
We just go live and everything is perfect.
You
We
just
block
go
everything else out.
polished, right? It's like, I'm ready. But, yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, that's so crazy. So when I say getting unstuck, what I think about is the moments in my life where I felt like there was just like no way out. I felt like I just, there were no options. I couldn't see the forest for the trees, as they say. I just couldn't think. I couldn't think. I couldn't feel. I couldn't just do anything. And in those moments, you really, you can tell us what your experiences was like. And I have my own little story that I'll share in a few. But tell us about what you think about when we say feeling stuck. Like, what does that mean, and what does it look like for you?
Well, in my opinion, when somebody feels stuck, it means that they feel like they don't have any options.
Yeah.
They feel like they don't have any choices, that they can't do anything to change their current circumstances or their current surroundings, which is definitely not a good place to be in. It doesn't feel good at all. It can feel like your life is completely out of control, like you have no power over your own life. And I know exactly what that feels like, because when I was growing up, I felt that way almost every day. I felt like I was trapped. I couldn't do anything to change my circumstances. And kids really can't do but so much to change their circumstances. And that is part of the reason why I'm so passionate about the work that I do, because I believe that if I help empower other women, then they're going to be empowered with themselves and then turn around and teach those skills to their kids. Yeah. And so that is a huge driving force behind everything.
Absolutely.
So I know what it feels like when you feel like there's nothing you can do and you feel trapped. But we are adults. We're not children. And so I think for a lot of us, when we start to feel that way in our adult bodies, it's because we've been triggered. And so we're kind of reacting from a place of what life was like when we were kids.
Yeah.
And we have to remind ourselves that though we feel like we can't do anything about our situation, we are actually 30-year-old, or 35 years old, or 40
Or
years
40-year-old.
40-year-old.
Yes, honey. Yes, honey.
And that we actually do have a lot more choices than we think we do, because we are actually fully formed, fully functional adults that have created our own lives. So I think when we feel trapped, it's just us reverting back to that time when we really didn't have those options. And so choosing yourself, parenting, I like to call it like parenting yourself through those things, like the parenting maybe that you wish you would have received, like that adult talking to you in the way that you would have needed when you were younger to learn how to navigate difficult situations. Give that to yourself when you're feeling that way. Or even if you look at it from the angle of like, if this was my best friend saying these things to me, what would I tell her to do? Or what would I say to her to help her feel better and to help her feel some sense of relief and empowerment?
That's so good. That's so good. Like I am like, as you're talking, like those keys are really important. I can remember using each one of those things when I felt very much stuck. I can remember my story goes back, maybe my son is 10. So about 11 years. And so I literally, I found out I was pregnant and I lost my job all within a month.
Wow. Yeah.
Within a month's period of time. And I just came back from like Europe. Like I was living the life, right? Came back from Europe and I found out I lost my job, and then I found out I was pregnant. I don't know which one came first, but I was like, okay, well, how am I going to do this? Right? Because I had the mortgage, I had a car, I had all these things going on. And like, it felt like the walls were closing in on me. And I felt like this really big sense of just overwhelm because of it all. And so immediately I kind of went into like this depressed state where I just kind of locked myself in my house and just went into the bed and just disconnected from everyone, and became really just non-responsive. And so that's how I kind of remember it all just hitting me and me just kind of freezing, really. And so when I think about people getting stuck, I think about how we are animals, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of go into this stress response when things trigger us. And so some of us fight, some of us run, some of us freeze. I'm a freezer. And some of us, we do all these things, and I'm a freezer. What would you say your response style to stress is? Are you a fighter, a runner, a freezer, or a fawner?
I can kind of do all of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, it kind of depends on what the situation is. I would say mainly I like to practice avoidance, which is the exact opposite of what you need to do when you're in a difficult situation. Like you were saying,
you're a runner.
Isolate it yourself.
Yes.
Right? It's like actually that's the last thing we really need to be doing, but it's just our coping mechanism. It's our survival mode response, like you said. So yeah, I tend to be an avoider. I just don't want to look at the emails. If I'm worried about paying bills, I don't want to check my bank account. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. I just want to just hide from it. But it's like, and then you have to really coax yourself into putting on your big girl pants. Like, all right, I'm just gonna look at this thing. I need to look at it, but you build it up in your mind, right? Whatever the situation is that you are dealing with, you just build it up so much in your mind that it can become this huge wall, figurative wall that you don't even know how to scale.
Yeah. Yeah, I see so many people coming in. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Thursday evening. We are talking to the Christina Rizzo about getting unstuck in life, in relationships, just in every part of our lives. How do we get unstuck? So, Christina, tell us about the time that you felt really stuck in your life or your relationships, or just whenever. When was that time that you felt when you felt stuck?
I will say most recently, I was feeling pretty stuck when about last April or May, I was very unhappy in my previous career, and I started to have a lot of anxiety with going to work, which then started to lead into depression, all the things that happen when we don't nourish ourselves and listen to ourselves and take care of ourselves. So all those things started to come out and manifest inside myself because I just didn't know how to cope or how to handle that situation at the time. I wasn't sure what to do. I wanted to quit my job, but I felt like I couldn't. And so it instead just made me want to, like you said, just go hide away and practice avoidance. So the way that I ended up handling that was I quit my job in June. that was the outcome that I ultimately decided to go with when I realized I've done so much work on myself to recognize when something's not healthy for me and is going to lead me in a mental place that I don't want to be. So I am somebody who has depression, that I deal with depression, and I still do, but it's very mild now. But it used to be a lot more significant, and that was when I allowed unhealthy people to be in my life. I didn't have proper boundaries and things of that nature, and I allowed people into my life that would trigger me to feel these feelings that I didn't matter. And when I started to feel those feelings of I don't matter, that's when I would start to get depressed. So I was feeling that way in my job in the spring, and so I realized I had to put myself first and quit my job, even if it was scary.
So listen, now you're saying this right now, and you have this really calm demeanor about you. But I can, like you said, it was scary. I can only imagine what that was like. And you have a child.
Yeah.
So what was that like to feel that fear and still do it anyway?
Well, I will tell you. The thing about when we know we need to change something in our lives, when we know we need to, but we don't, we allow it to continue. I believe that God or the universe or whatever you believe in will send you signs and keep you to feel discomfort until you're finally brave enough to do the thing that you know you needed to do in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I knew I had wanted to quit my job for a while now, and then COVID happened, and I didn't feel like it was the right time. And so I continued, and the pressures continued to mount, and I continued to be in these situations that were not healthy for me. It came to a point in, I think it was in May. It was in May when I actually got bullied at work. and by an assistant principal at a school. And instead of my boss sticking up for me, she wrote me up, and I've never been written up ever in my life. But she punished me for somebody else being rude to me. And so that was kind of the thing that made me go, I can't do this anymore. Like, you're not gonna, I was the one who wasn't protected, and then you're gonna punish me. That was like I'm done. Bottom line, can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. So it had to unfortunately get to that point for me. I was going to try to ride it out to the end of the school year as best I could. Like because I'm a team player and I didn't want to leave anybody hanging. But the universe had different plans for me and was like, okay, well, here, let me give you this. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with this situation? You know? And I was like, all right, that was a line. That was a boundary crossed. I will never work with a woman that treats me like that, because in the line of work I was doing before, we work with students with emotional disabilities. Oh. And if you're going to tell somebody who's struggling with anxiety that the work has to get done anyway and then write her up, I'm not dealing with you anymore. Like, that is very toxic, you know? Mm. Yeah, so I put an FMLA and I left.
Wow. And okay. And you know, we sometimes go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and what happened was the physical aspect of that was I had really a rapid heart rate. I had like all the physical symptoms of anxiety. So I went to the doctor just to talk to them about what I could do because of all the anxiety I was experiencing due to my job. And so my blood pressure was high. My heart rate was high because I was like basically having like a panic attack. And so they signed my paperwork for me so that I wouldn't have to go back. Because they were like, well, do you want medicine? I was like, I don't particularly want medicine because I know that this is a specific situation. It's not just an ongoing thing for me. This is related to something specific. So I'd prefer not to. I'm not saying no. But I'm not planning on returning to this job. I know I need to leave. And so they're like, all right, we'll sign your paperwork. And if you feel like it's not getting better, please come back and talk to us. But
that's so good.
Yeah,
that's so good. Like, I love what you just said. So one of the things that I hear you saying loud and clear is that, number one, sometimes we have to challenge our view of tough and struggle, because I heard you say that you had like divine intervention, right?
Yeah.
In the sense that the creator, universe, whatever you call him or her, will set life up to kind of push you in the direction that you need to take. And sometimes that, what it appears to be, looks like stress, it looks like trouble, it looks like crazy situations at work, it looks like crazy situations in relationships, it looks like crazy, but it's actually divine intervention directing you and ushering you in the direction that you need to go. Now, if we have that perspective when life is going crazy, that my life is falling apart, and I don't know what to do, then that's when we fall into depression, we get into those anxiety attacks. But what I hear you saying is that if we recognize that those are divine moments, that are just allowing us moments to tap into them for direction. And if you were not able to tap into those moments for yourself, you would not be where you are at this moment.
Exactly. And I totally agree with what you're saying. It's
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, there was a lag. I was going to say it's feedback, these situations that are really, really uncomfortable. If we can take on the lens and think of, what is this situation trying to tell me about my life? What feedback can I take away from what is happening to me right now? I think that can be another way to help you know what to do next when you're faced with a difficult situation.
Yeah. And it sounds like it requires you to get really still and really quiet, because sometimes our life, if we're really honest, sometimes our life can be really loud, meaning, I was talking about today, like me jumping from, working or seeing clients, and then I had to do some things. I'm getting some home renovations done, talking to the guy that's doing the home renovations, and then running out, waiting for my son to get here from school, and then running out to basketball practice, and then trying to rush here to get on here. with you guys tonight. My life was really loud today. And when our life is really loud, we can't tap in and tune in to what we need to do next, right? Because our life is like, it's like when you're driving down the road and you're listening to the radio station and you get into those little remote parts of the road, and the signal gets really, really messy and choppy. And you're like, okay, let me tune in. Let me quiet down so we can tune in. Let me hear what's happening on this radio because I really want to listen to it, right? Sometimes that's how our life is. We got to tune into the frequency that we need to listen to so we can know what steps to take next. Absolutely. And that's sometimes how you get unstuck.
Yeah, I was saying absolutely. And the noise is going to get louder and louder. That signal is going to get scratchier and scratchier the more you don't listen to it. Yeah. You know, so because life will keep giving you those nudges to help shift your direction. And it's for your own good, even though it doesn't feel good. And I can talk about the things that have happened to me, like that situation, from this place of ease, because I think that it was what I needed. Like, I have found positive meaning from that experience, you know, that actually, as uncomfortable as it was at the time, it was what I needed, and it shifted me in a positive way.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like that when you're in the middle of it, does it?
It feels awful.
It literally feels like you're going to be there forever. Like life is not going to change. That's how it really feels. Yeah. And so talk to that person, that mom who may be stuck and is like, life is not going to change. I keep running around this mountaintop so many times. What should she know in regards to it being okay? Just it being okay.
Well, it's definitely okay. The thing about life is that if you want to experience the beauty of life and the joys in life that we can get to have, you know, the happiness that comes with life, we also have to understand that there's a flip side to that, and that is stress and sadness and struggles. That to have the full experience of life, it doesn't mean turning a blind eye to the sad aspects that come with life. People are going to die that we care about. Relationships are going to end that we don't want to end. But also, maybe you get to have the best relationship with your children than you've ever could have imagined. Or maybe you end up in a career path that is more fulfilling than you ever would have known. But I don't know that we can truly appreciate those beautiful, amazing experiences if we don't also know what it feels like to have the sadness as well, you know, and to overcome things that are challenging.
Yeah. I love that. I love that because you're so right. Like we try to, like we don't allow ourselves, we only want to feel the feelings, the emotions that are really comfortable. And we tend to shun away from the ones that make us feel sad, right? Like who wants to be sad? Who wants to be angry? Who wants to feel any of that? But those emotions, and I say this every day too, it seems like those uncomfortable emotions are just as holy, just as sacred as all the ones that make us feel giddy on the inside. And they're there for a reason. They're there to help to direct you. You gotta tap into it.
And I want to add too that there's something important about accepting what you're going through without trying to just change it. That doesn't mean that you're not going to change it. But if you are somebody right now who's feeling really overwhelmed and really stuck and like nothing is ever going to change. And my metaphor is always like you climb up the mountain and you feel like you're making progress just to get like slapped right back all the way down the bottom. If that feels like your life, I've been there so many times. It's okay to be there. And this is something that I wish somebody would have taught me a lot sooner, which is that it's okay to be there because you're gonna get through it. And just knowing that you are where you are and just taking a deep breath and breathing the fact that this is where you are right now and that it's okay, I think just goes a long way to relieving pressure. Like we put so much pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, that's so good. Like feeling the feeling, breathing through it is what helps you to open up to other possibilities.
Yes.
I love that so much. So getting out of stuck. So we're stuck. We have acknowledged that we're stuck. And now what do we do to get unstuck?
Well, I would suggest a few things. So one is decide, what particular area are you trying to get unstuck in? Like, that's number one, like getting very clear about what it is you want to create the change. So for example, if you're struggling with your finances, maybe you're not making enough money. So then you want to get really clear that you want to bring in more income. You want to receive more money. So the next logical step would be brainstorming a whole list of ways that you could earn extra money, receive extra money, get extra money. Go on YouTube, Instagram. There's so many people out there that literally teach you how to make extra money. Mm-hmm. I don't know how these people find all these fun, fancy, extra opportunities that are out there, but there's like a million of different opportunities now when it comes to making money. So do some research, make a list. Even if you're not sure you want to do that thing, I would say brain dump. Just write every possibility out there.
Without judgment.
Just without judgment.
Just write it down. Just write it down.
Mm-hmm. And you can apply this to any area of your life that you want to change. It's the same thing. Be clear on what you desire, brainstorm the different ways or the different things that you need to work on, get through, change, shift, learn in order to have or get unstuck in that particular area. And then I think it's really important to spend some time alone, like you were talking about, like getting quiet. Two of my favorite ways to spend time alone is walking outside in nature without any music on and driving in my car. For whatever reason, I come up with great ideas, plans, clarity when I'm driving in my car or taking like a long walk outside. So whatever that looks like for you, because it looks different for all of us, but find some time where you can get quiet with yourself and set an intention while you're with yourself for guidance. Okay, what are some ideas? What idea would be the best idea for me to move forward? What should I do next? Just set that intention, whether you set it with yourself, whether you set it to God, whether you say that to the universe, but put it out there that while you're moving yourself, while you're driving, you're exercising, you're showering, whatever it is for you, that you're ready and willing to receive guidance on what to do next. So, those are a couple of ways to kind of get that started, to get unstuck. Because once you make the first move, the next move's going to come, and the next move's going to come, and the next move's going to come. It's always that first move.
Oh, and I love that you just said that, because I think sometimes what keeps us stuck is the idea that we have to have it all figured out where we're going to go, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not how life works. I wish it did. Like, I wish that before I got up, that I knew where I was going. But that's just not how I was going to get there. And that's just not how life goes. Sometimes you make the first step, and then the next step comes available to you. You get it. You understand it more. So I love that idea. I really do. And something I also find, Christina, that's really helpful is for us to kind of get an idea of what we're looking for. Like, for example, I was talking to someone today and they said, I just want to be happy. I want to be happy, and I feel like I'm stuck because I'm not happy. And I'm like, okay, well, what does happiness mean to you? Like, what would it mean for you to be happy? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't really know what it looks like or what it would mean to you, well, how do you know when you get there? And so sometimes thinking about and visualizing, sometimes visualizing what unstuck would look like for you is helpful in terms of moving away from being stuck. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. I think that's a great idea. And there's a lot of different meditations and visualizations, guided visualizations on YouTube that you can go to look up that specific topic. So if it's getting unstuck in the area of your dating life or your finances, like whatever it is, there is a YouTube meditation for it. I can guarantee.
Absolutely. And listen, this is a plug for visualization. Like, I literally started doing a lot of visualization. I want to say maybe a year to 2 years ago, and it has really changed my life. And I love visualization because it opens me up to different possibilities that I have not experienced before. Just trying to visualize it, trying to see like whatever struggle I might think I might have, what do I think I encounter? Like just trying to visualize that and me overcoming it in my mind is amazing for me to actually feel more confident so that I can move forward in my goals. Have you ever do you practice visualization for yourself?
I do, and you just gave me the something I want to share that is one of my favorites too, in terms of visualizing, which is picturing your future self, what she looks like.
Yes.
So visualizing what she looks like. And my favorite thing to do is you bring that person, that version of you up in your mind, your future self, and you ask her, what do you need to do now to get to be where she is?
I like that.
That one's really helpful. Yeah.
Why do you think that's helpful? What's helpful about that?
I think it's because you see this when we're here in our 3D world right now, and we think about the version of us we want to be. It feels so far away from where we are today, and we don't maybe know what do we need to do to get there. And it can feel like the gap between where we want to be and where we are is just so big, and it feels overwhelming. Like you said, when things feel overwhelming, it can shut us down, which means it limits our ability to see ideas, to get that guidance. But when you can just bring to your mind without judgment or without trying to be that version of you right now, but just bring to mind exactly like you said, getting clear. It's a whole clarity thing. Like if you don't know what you want, then how are you ever going to bring it to life? Mm-hmm. So when you can visualize what exactly that future version of you looks like, how she dresses, how she takes care of herself, how she acts, what she's thinking, what she's saying, if you can kind of start to bring her to life and then say, okay, well, what's something I can do that's going to help me start to become more of you? You're going to open your mind up to new possibilities from that place.
That is so powerful. That is so powerful. So in my community, we call that faking it till you make it. And I don't necessarily look at it as if it's faking it till you're making it. It literally is, and I posted this on my page maybe 2 days ago. It is just practicing what you want to be. Yes. So I don't think it's faking it. I think it's just practice. It's practicing whatever you see in your mind when you visualize. Practice being that person, that version of yourself. It's not fake. It's just practice.
And I think it can feel far away when you're not yet that person. And so that's what makes it feel like it's fake. But if you're practicing on becoming her, or if your goal is to make decisions like somebody that is her. So yes, I'm not her, but I'm making decisions like her. I feel like it just brings it down to earth, like a more concrete level, instead of it being so like vague, because a lot of people, especially in the life coaching industry, talk about embodiment and like, well, just act as if you're your next level. But that can just feel way too abstract if you're not already maybe one step away from that next level. If you're 10 steps away, it's like, what does that even mean? How do I make decisions from the millionaire version of me when I make $2,000 a month? What I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And you know what? So when I was stuck, and I actually do this now, this is something that I still do. And I love somebody one day, I was about to drive somewhere, and someone had a car similar to mine, and he asked me, is your light dim? I'm like, how would I know? Right? So if I'm driving in this car and if I've always had the same kind of light, how would I know if it's dim if I've never known anything different, right? So something that I find that is helpful for me in my life in getting unstuck is getting around other people that look like what I visualize. Mm-hmm. And it's almost as if by seeing them or being exposed to them, being exposed to something that's outside of what my world is all about, it opens me up to other opportunities and other possibilities so I can see in a different way. And that has been so powerful. Like sometimes I will go to the richest side of town and just drive around. I will go to the supermarket where the richest people stay and just walk around the supermarket, walk around their neighborhoods. And it's kind of creepy. It sounds a little bit creepy, but it's not creepy. What I am doing is I'm exposing myself to something greater. I talk to people that are on different levels as it from me. You know, I'm doing this mommy mentoring program, and I do it. A part of yes, I want moms to feel supported, but also what I want, like more than anything else, is for moms to be exposed to something greater. Like I used to do this nonprofit organization, and I call it the Round Table. I would take disadvantaged youth and we would go to like the richest, most amazing 5-star restaurant. We would go to the theater. We would get all dressed up. And I did that because it exposed them to a world that they would never be exposed to. And that exposure changes your life. It changes the trajectory of your life. And it is something that you can do that is amazing to get you unstuck. What do you think about that?
No, I think that's really great because when we look around our current environment, if it is not something that looks like where we want to be, oftentimes we can get stuck in that environment thinking, well, this is just the way it is. Yeah. You know, how many people think that that's just the way it is? And then nothing changes. Like, I mean, think about society. When society's like, well, that's just the way it is. It's like, no, things can be different. So when you open yourself up by taking yourself and putting yourself in different environments or surrounding yourself with different people along the level you want to be, it helps you see that, yes, things can be different. I can have things a different way. And I think it's really helpful too when you meet other people who maybe came from similar circumstances, maybe similar but different, but just something similar that, you know, you can be like, oh, well, you did that. Well, if you can do that, I know I can do it too. It's
Absolutely.
Really for that.
Absolutely. There's this saying that I always hear, and that is success leaves clues. Meaning that I can look at someone that I see as successful and pick up clues from their success without them even saying anything. Like someone can mentor you and not even talk to you. Just because of how they live their life. And you can look at their life and see the things that they do. Like I study Instagram, I study YouTubers, like people that are successful in that. I study them to see what are they doing that I can pick up on. Success always leaves clues. You don't have yes, if you have $1 million that you know, or $1,000 extra and you can book a coach, fine. But you can also go on their Instagram, go on their YouTube and see what they do.
Right.
And that helps you to pick up the clues that you need to implement in your life so that you can make changes like them, but tweak them to your lifestyle.
Yeah, and you can pick up on their energy, you know, even though maybe you're not having a one-to-one conversation, just listening to their stories, their Instagram stories, or reading their posts can help you start to like calibrate into their vibe, their energy, which is really helpful when you get tired of trying to pep yourself up every single day. It's really nice when you can go and get some inspiration from other people and encouragement from people that you vibe with, that you enjoy, you know, reading their stuff and listening to their videos every day.
So good. So good. Anything else that you want to say to mamas, co-parenting and single moms about getting unstuck and creating that life that they really want for themselves? Anything else that you want to share before we end? And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Thank you guys for coming on. If you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments so that Christina can answer them.
Absolutely. I would love to answer any questions anybody has. I would just say if you're a single mom, if you're struggling with co-parenting, you're struggling with single mom life, just know that it's normal. It's normal that it's not easy. It's normal that it can be a struggle some days. But on the opposite side of that, there's going to be beautiful memories and beautiful days. And things go by in a blink of an eye. You know, I have a kid who's going to turn 16 this month. And I swear to you, it really feels like it was just yesterday that he was this 2-year-old who was exhausting, you know, and I felt like I never had any time to myself. And I didn't even know who I was back then. And as long as you remain committed to yourself, to your growth, and to doing the best that you can do in each day, and some days your best may only be laying on the sofa, drinking a glass of wine and letting your kids watch YouTube. And that's okay. I'm just saying.
So okay. That is so okay. Right? Give yourself the grace to just Netflix and chill by yourself.
Exactly. As long as you do the best you can do each day, you're going to look back and see that you have made so many changes in your life, because big changes don't happen in one day. They actually happen with little steps that you make every day.
That's so good. That's so good. And in being able to reflect on that when you make it, because we know that you will, and you'll have these stories that you can pass down and say, I remember when, right?
Yep.
So just, sometimes you've heard that saying, I just got to laugh to keep from crying.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes using humor in those rough moments can get you through them so much better. And just remembering that, like you said, it won't always be like this. It won't always be like this. But in these moments, when I make it, because I will, I'll be able to reflect and say, I remember when, la 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 la.
And you'll be so proud of yourself.
And you'll be so, so proud of yourself. And you'll remember that these were the moments that I was changing my life. And then you'll be those clues that other people will be able to use. Your life will be clues for other people because you made the decision to get yourself unstuck.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing and so powerful.
I just want to add something that really helped me when my son was younger. Was I had another single mom that lived nearby me. So if you have other single moms that you know, connect with them, because what we would do is I would watch her son and our kids would play together and I would watch them so she could have time alone, and then she would take my son so I could have time alone. So which I believe we all need time to ourselves. So if you're someone who doesn't get a lot of time to yourself, see if you can find another mom friend that you guys can tag team up with so that you can get some time to yourself, because you deserve to have time to yourself. You need that so you can reset yourself and so you can keep going, because some days motivation is hard and that's okay. You need time to yourself so that you can relax and decompress too.
So good. Christina, tell us where we can find you.
Sure. You can find me right on Instagram at Off She Adventures, OFF She Adventures, because I love to travel and I like to look at life as an adventure. So that's where that handle came from. So you can find me there. My website is offsheadventures.life. And then I am on Facebook too. I have a free Facebook group. So if you want to join it, it's for people that are healing after a breakup or a divorce. So if that's you and you want to join, all you got to do is go to my Instagram handle. The link's in the bio.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget, the next 3 weeks, is it 3? 1, 2, 3. The next 4 weeks, how many weeks are in December? The next 4 weeks, we have amazing conversations lined up. On next week, we will have Lakeisha Harris coming to talk to us about dating and mating if you choose to mate. And then on the 16th, we'll have Malia Black talking about intuition, developing your intuition, trusting your intuition, and growing in intuition. And to be honest with you, a lot of what we talked about tonight was about intuition, wasn't it?
Yes.
So if you need a part 3 of this conversation, listen, let me tell you something. Malia Black is amazing. First of all, she delivered my last baby. Helped me deliver my last. She's a mommy, a midwife. She helped deliver my baby, but outside of that, she's an amazing person. And I am so excited. I had a mommy retreat earlier this year. It's 2021 still, right? Yep, earlier this year. And she spoke at my retreat about intuition. So if you need direction in your life, if you need to figure it all out and learn to trust yourself, please come to us on the 16th at 8 o'clock. You will be in for a treat. And then on the 23rd, we have Alicia Jackson talking about breaking a curse. Everybody wants to be a curse breaker, right? But how do you do that? What does it mean? And what does it look like? We'll talk all about that. And then on the 30th, if you want to lose some weight and keep it off for good, join us. Join me and Miss Wiltrina Jones from I Used to Be You. We will be talking all about it. She's someone else that we did a conversation last year. Amazing. And she helps people lose a lot of weight. So this is going to be a really good conversation. And I'll be talking about my version of losing weight. She'll be talking about hers. So it's going to be really good. Thank you so much for coming tonight, Christina. I really appreciate you taking your time to join us tonight and talking about getting unstuck. I really do appreciate everything that you shared. And it's been a pleasure getting to know you for the last couple of weeks and just
Yes.
kind of watching you post. Like, I love your vibe. It's amazing. And maybe I might want to try. I love to travel too. So maybe I'll join you on a trip one day.
I would love that. Yes.
I'm inviting myself, you guys. I need travel partners.
You are definitely invited. Hey, I want to celebrate my birthday in St. Martin in August. I'm turning 40.
Ooh.
So if you want to come, you're invited.
Listen. Okay. We'll talk offline, okay? Well, listen, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Make sure you come back for the next 4 weeks. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.